Okay, hi everybody, and welcome back to Sunday Brunch. Last week we had a really nice show. I really enjoyed it. It was our first of our every other week series in which we talk about food, etc., recipes, just back and forth, whatever it may be. It is on our menu, so to speak. Well, today, if you remember, in the kitchen with Chef Renee Hewitt, that show, I had Chef Mark Mclean. Mark, say hi and give us a little background. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I do that, and my co-host Anthony Spirito. Anthony was on the show as well, and he did a remarkable job. You did chicken with the mushroom white sauce. Am I correct?
That's right. Yep.
Yes. And it looks spectacular. And Mark, you did two dishes.
Yes, indeed. First of all, how are you? And thank you for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. This is now you have a second home right here with us. So,
I
Mark,
like the sound of that.
I introduced you, but there's more going on with you that I would like our audience to learn.
Well, yeah. So as we were on before, and I was able to cook that fantastic brunch dish, which is pretty funny because one for Sunday brunch, I made a brunch dish with the baked eggs. I'm just happy to be able to speak about some good food and to talk about things going on with me and you guys. I mean, I'm sure you're talking about my restaurant, which I'm looking to open probably in about 2 weeks in New Hope, Pennsylvania, which we're kind of figuring out the final stages of and just making
Mm-hmm,
some stuff look good and putting the
mm-hmm,
flowers out, things like that.
mm-hmm.
So that's an exciting point that I have going on. We're opening up a burger place. It's called Burgerly in New Hope, Pennsylvania, on Main Street.
I like that
New Hope
name.
is
I like that name, Berkeley.
well. Thank
I
you.
just wrote down the
It's
address.
What'd you
it
say, Anthony?
answers a question. It answers a question as I pretty much I ask people like what makes you burgerly, and then from me asking you that question, I'll give you something that makes you burgerly. If it's a fantastic burger, if it's a chicken sandwich, if it's something between a hamburger bun that makes you feel burgerly. It's really a great idea.
That's good.
Um, yeah, it's pretty interesting because my partner and I we did a tour of like some really like these well acclaimed burgers in Brooklyn. And I don't know if you guys know, Brooklyn has this scene. It's a really great food scene, but then they have this like burger wars going on between them and New York, and like they
Oh,
basically
really?
have like yeah, it's like they're throwing punches at each other. It's like oh, we have the best burger, we have the best burger. And so we went and toured these places and said, well, what are they doing? And they're
Mm-hmm,
pretty much making like what they would call a classic American cheeseburger,
mm-hmm,
which is mostly a really good patty, fresh, somewhere between 4 and 6 ounces. A really good bun, usually a potato bun or something like that. Pickles and onions, and that's it. Maybe like a Thousand Island and maybe a mustard. But if you think about our name and then what I just said about the classic burger, I want to ask you guys, what makes you guys burgerly? Like chef, what would you do as a burger? What makes you think about like, oh, this is a nice burger in my hand?
Well, as I explained, I cook beef and pork, but I don't eat it. I will do turkey and a chicken burger as well.
Mhm.
I love the chicken burger because it's just a little bit different from the turkey and also from the ground beef. My burger is almost a typical. Sometimes I'm in the mood for a pickle on it. I might take a little mayonnaise and mix it with sriracha, and that's my spread on it. I might take some cheese.
Spicy.
Yeah, I love spicy, especially jerk chicken. That's what we need, a jerk chicken burger. And
Hey,
uh, an idea, huh? Because when you mentioned
that's
jerk
a good
food,
idea.
people usually jump to jerk chicken. I love it. I haven't had it in a long time. And then I'm a cheese person, so I like a lot of cheese and stack
Yeah.
it up. And then I believe it or not, I have it on the English muffin
Oh,
because
nice.
I pull away. I try to pull away from the regular floured bun. even though there's whole
Mm-hmm.
wheat, but I'll put that big old burger on on an English muffin, and it's usually hanging over
Yeah.
the edge.
Yeah, make it
Fantastic.
work. Why not?
What about you,
Anthony, what about
Anthony?
you?
Yeah.
What makes you burgerly?
I mean, for me, first of all, the name Burgerly, I think, is really appropriate because, at least in my case, and I'm sure a lot of other people's cases too, you don't eat a hamburger necessarily every day, but how many
True.
times have you said to yourself, "Man, I feel like having a hamburger. I feel like having a
Mm-hmm.
burger."
Yes.
You just have a day where you just feel like you want to have a burger. And for me, there's nothing better than a burger with a heap of stewed onions on
Oh.
top.
Oh.
Uh, with either, I'm not, I mean, I like cheese, but I just want a little bit on there, right? So whether it's Swiss or even better, Gruyere
Yeah.
on there, and that to me, that's the ultimate burger for me. I love that.
And
I
caramelized
agree.
onions.
And yes, caramelized onions on a brioche bun. That's important.
I agree. Well, Anthony, we got you covered because some of the secrets and tricks that I'm doing, I'm basically making this griddled savory onion while using sweet onions, and I'm taking like as many as you can cut. So let's just say
Those are the
20
best.
pounds, and we're just spreading them all over the griddle, and we're working them down with salt, pepper, and a little garlic. And then
Yeah.
I'm basically putting those on each burger underneath the cheese. So I'm not telling anybody. And the savory aspect adds to the meat, like you were saying. Like the aspect goes with it so perfectly that it is absolutely amazing. And then what I did for our sauce is I took some of the cooked onions and I blended them and made an aioli with
Oh.
Wow.
a sweet onion aioli. So the sweet onion aioli is going to back in some more of those onions, which are stuck underneath the cheese, and voila, we've actually,
I
Oh.
mean, I don't know.
Oh.
For my money, I mean, that's the best. That is the best thing to have on hamburger, like long cooked onions.
Now let me
Perfect.
ask you a
Mm-hmm.
question. Is there, and for people who will be watching this, is there a difference between putting the onions underneath the cheese or on top? Does it
Well, what
matter?
I wanted to do is I wanted to marry the onions with the burger. So I wanted to say, you know what, these onions go with the burger, not in a different aspect. And then when I cover it with the cheese, it's like it closes it. And then you
Yeah.
have no option but to enjoy some of these onions because they're supposed to be the perfect complement to the beef. And I think this is great, man. We could talk about burgers for so long. We can make this whole conversation about burgers. It's it's
Fine,
it's
I can do that.
it's literally, basically adding more savoriness and then cutting some of the richness with the onions. And it as working on a palate, it's just so sensible.
Mhm.
Other than that, it's just delicious. So when you said that, I hadn't told you one thing about what we're doing except making an amazing burger, and that is what we're doing right there. And it's a nice trick and secret that I'm sneaking in.
Well,
There's some
I
other
think
little
that's
things.
I think that's spectacular.
yeah,
Spectacular. I
yeah.
mean,
And I
talk about a sales job for me. I'm already down there.
and I
I've got my
understand
favorite
what you're
burger.
saying. I could see it now. You have your meat, then you have the onion. When you put the cheese on top, especially if it's a large piece of cheese, it just melts and it just
Hmm.
covers the onion, whereas
Hmm.
it doesn't escape. Opposed to if you put it on top of the cheese and you go to bite, then the onions oozes out. So this cheese is going to
Yeah,
hold it in a shell. Oh, that's
it
And you know
is.
what? What's interesting about this particular conversation is that, for part of American culture, a hamburger is interwoven into popular American culture, right? It is
Hmm.
something very standard, something very normal. But as you certainly know, Mark, and Renee, over the course of the last 4, 5, 6 years, the hamburger has become very elevated
oh
in
sure.
particularly in American cuisine. It is not, it's not you know, there's the McDonald's hamburger or the Burger King hamburger, but then there's, you know, then there's the Shake Shack hamburger, and there's the, you know, whatever, you know, boutique hamburger joints that you were talking about in Brooklyn. We have them here in Jersey City, in New York. It has become a very elevated part of our cuisine, and people are doing some really, really impressive stuff with hamburgers.
Yeah,
you know,
people
Anthony,
also nowadays they're talking about the smash burger. Okay, whoever started that, that's like the new thing. It's just a burger smashed down. I mean, it does the same thing.
well, but you know, when you add the pressure to the burger on like a hot griddle, the caramelization that you get is absolutely perfect. It is forcing the Maillard reaction on it so quickly. And then you're cooking this burger that is basically so caramelized and blocks everything inside. What you're left with is seeing that you're using really great beef. And Anthony, you were correct about the fact that the burger is a timeless classic. And if you guys really look into it, a few years back, I noticed that McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, all these places, they place a separation between their burgers because all these other restaurants came up, like Five Guys and other boutique places. They were making
out on the West Coast
elevated burger. Yeah, they were making a burger, but they were selling it at a different price point and saying, "Listen, this burger is supreme," and it wasn't that much different. So McDonald's said, "What we're going to do is we're going to make a nicely elevated burger. We're going to have the bottom point. We're going to match their price point because we're getting killed right now. You know, they have the market share, but they weren't selling at the right price." So all of the burger places did that. And if you really look into it, it's called culture. It's a burger culture that exists. And as my partner and I have gone over and over to try to get absorbed in this, we've learned that if we don't get a part of this culture and understand how we are going to recreate it and conquer it, then we're not going to do well. So that's what we decided to do. And all of these factors matter.
Yeah. So, okay, what do you think about the sides that go along with it? Now, the basic is a burger with French fries. And what about the, well, you have the beef burger, you have the turkey burger. You said you might include them at another time. How is that based on what the market asks for?
Well, we're just making sure that our processes are running so super tight. And then what we're doing is we're sourcing really good ingredients. So when you taste our burger, you're gonna say, "Holy cow, these guys are using good beef. They care." You know, that's a simple process that people can pick up very quickly. And to go along, I didn't say this exactly. We're entering the fried chicken wars super hot. All right. So we have a fried chicken sandwich. It's my specialty that we're coming off. We're frying it right on the spot for you guys, and it's going to be the ultimate winner. Yeah, I know I won't have the Twitter wars with Chick-fil-A and McDonald's, but if anybody wants to call me for it, we're making a classic chicken sandwich, pickles, fried chicken, marinated well, that goes right off that goes right away to kind of win the fried chicken wars, because it's pretty funny that these fried chicken sandwiches have also become sort of this cult thing, starting with Popeyes.
Look what happened with Popeyes. The chicken sandwiches have been around for such a long time. Then Popeyes decided we're going to do it, and it got to the point that there were fights over a chicken sandwich. So eventually I tried it, and it just had a pickle on it, and I think it's the bread, the burger bread that is supposed to be so good. I think it's buttered or something like that, and they had a sauce. So I tried that, and then I tried another place, and another place months ago was good. But now it's just a big thing. I make them here at home, but I use the breast, and I just slice it, bread it, you know, the egg white, and fry it 2 minutes both sides, and it's done. But that's the new thing. I mean, people get hooked, you know? It's like, what is it, a fad?
I don't know if it's a fad. I think that with Chick-fil-A's market share for the chicken sandwich, everybody kind of wanted to attack them, because when the fast food restaurant, and let's be real, Chick-fil-A has been around for years upon years. I want to say somewhere in the 60s, 70s. And they just
they've been around that long?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the only one that was in New Jersey
not here,
was in Woodbridge Mall.
Yeah.
In the South.
They've mostly been in the South.
In the South.
There was
Okay.
there was one in Woodbridge Mall for since the 80s. And my mom would take us there and she would go to Chick-fil-A and she'd get her a sandwich. And she said, you guys go and play over there. Because she didn't get Chick-fil-A for others. She got it just for herself. Okay. And I said, well, what is that? And she goes, this is Chick-fil-A. So I'm like, this is a fried chicken sandwich. Nothing's on here. Pickles, a good bread, and that's it. And I have some sauces I can dip it in. And when Chick-fil-A expanded and they did a really great job, they stole the market share from these other companies. So then somebody else, Popeyes, who's a chicken company, said, we fry chicken, let's make a chicken sandwich. And then McDonald's said, we fry chicken. And then Wendy's said, we fry chicken. And everybody's now frying chicken. And it's pretty hilarious that the standards of American cuisine, fried chicken and a burger, remain strong. So much so that you're able to make these quote unquote wars. Like, how interesting is it? You know?
It's true. They're like mass market staples, but yet people are improving on them left and right, and it's become really the ultimate prize to have that chicken sandwich or that burger. That's why, for and it may still be the case. I don't know. I haven't been in the city in over a year, and I'm sure that things have changed. But before the pandemic, Shake Shack was kick and tail. They were the ones that had the lines around the block for their burgers and their shakes, and Chick-fil-A, which opened 2 restaurants in New York City in Midtown. Talk about fights. The people had anxiety when those one of the 2 had to close down temporarily because of a health reason.
Yeah.
People went crazy because they couldn't go to Chick-fil-A on their lunch hour. And so, but this is where we are. Even though that these are staples of American fast food, they've become elevated. People really are serious about their burgers. They're serious about their chicken. And apparently there's enough opportunity to go around because people, Mark is identified a niche down in New Hope. So
and I'm sure the the recipe for these burgers are the same all over. They put a little salt, put a little pepper, with the beef burger. They might add a little bit more maybe for the chicken sandwich, but they all are basic. You know what I mean? It's just like a standard. And going back, it depends on who it's coming from.
Yeah, the funny thing about what I was mentioning earlier to you guys about the burger wars in Brooklyn is that some of these companies, they're making one burger and one burger only. And they're saying, this is the burger you can order, and that's it. There's no changes, there's no subs. You might be able to subtract pickles from it, but you'll be scoffed at, So it's funny because when we're making our burgers and figuring out what we're going to do, I said, well, you know what? I want to do some really fantastic burgers. I want to throw some shrimp scampi on one. I want to throw barbecue brisket on another. I want to push above. I want to smoke our own bacon. And then somebody said, well, what are you going to do about the classic burger? And I'm like, what do you mean the classic? They said, the classic burger has got to stand, And I created just a classic burger that's going to make sense. My other burgers, I got some fun things to hear about, but I would love to actually hear your fried chicken recipe, Chef Renee. I would love to hear about, you said you
well, like I said,
or actually, 2 of us on this call. You can share it with me too.
Like I said, it is what I do. I will share it because it's in my cookbook. However, I just take the chicken breast and I slice it, and I don't slice real thin pieces. I want you to taste the chicken. I do not hammer it down. I just slice it like that, do a little salt, a little pepper, and then I have a seasoning from one of my sponsors, R.L. Schreiber, roasted garlic pepper. I put that on, and then the trick is, for me, I'll put the chicken in a bag after season, and I just don't close and put it in the refrigerator. I press it down. I press it. That's getting that salt and everything right into the chicken itself. Then Yeah, yeah. It's grabbing it. You know, it's you're forcing it in. Yeah.
It's osmosis.
Yes. And then I will take my regular flour. Now, one time I sifted the flour because I don't like flour that's thick, thick, thick. It depends on who's
Okay.
doing it. So I'll take the flour, just add a little bit of cornstarch, which is going to give it that little crunch. Okay.
I
Then I have
agree.
my egg. I season the flour, I season the egg, and then I use
Mm-hmm.
the panko breadcrumbs and I season that. I found out before that sometimes I lose some of the spices if I put it in the flour and put it in the egg will pull it off a little. And when by the time we get to the breadcrumbs, everything is in the egg. If you ever notice, you'll see
Mm-hmm.
your stuff. And all the time I cook in olive oil, get the oil nice and hot, put it in the pan two at a time, and I let it cook for about 2 minutes on each side because it's chicken breast, and we know chicken breast cooks like that. So
Hey,
yeah,
hey, Anthony, you see how into this he is, man? He's going right now. You're gonna continue.
He is. He is.
He's on a
So
tear.
so do you Renee, do you temp the oil, or do you just wait for it to get shimmering and then you know it's ready?
what I do, I get the pan hot first. Sometimes people, when they cook, they put the oil in and then let the oil get hot with the pan. No, 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 no. You want the pan to get hot first.
No, no,
Depending
no,
on
no, no, no.
no, 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 no. Depending on the oil that they're using. Okay, I prefer to use extra virgin olive oil. I found that the other oils are too heavy for me personally.
Mhm.
So get that pan real hot, add the oil, maybe a half a cup, not too much. I don't want the chicken to be floating in it. I know by eye. Then I put it in the pan. I know when it's ready because when I lift it up, if the breadcrumbs are brown, I turn it. When the other side, I know it's done because it's the breast. The breast cook quick. Take it out, put it on the side, and do the whole thing over again. Now you got my recipe. And now to end
Now I
this,
got to try it.
I take Frank's hot sauce, add butter to it, mix that up, and then I take that and I get a brush. I put the chicken on the pan. I get a brush. We're talking about the Frank's hot sauce, say from buffalo wing sauce, and I take that
Mhm.
and I brush it on the chicken. I don't soak it. I brush it.
What was that noise that when you do the butter in the Frank's hot sauce? What was that noise you did right
Huh?
there?
Oh yeah. Look,
That's too
look,
funny.
look.
I thought you were brushing chicken there for a minute.
I was. No, no. But that's what I do. I brush it on opposed to when we do buffalo wings, you might want to dip it in,
Yeah,
depending on
you
how
do more
hot
of a
you want it. Yeah. So I do that, maybe put it in the oven for about 1 minute, and then I put mine on English muffin and go to town. It's like that's a meal in itself. Now you have the
yeah.
recipe out of my cookbook, but it's okay.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and it works. Anthony, you have a secret recipe for frying chicken or burgers?
I have to admit that I don't have a secret recipe for fried chicken. I've made fried chicken probably a handful of times, but I'm never happy with the outcome for me. So I don't do it that much. And maybe it's because I haven't had your recipe up until now. So,
Well, I'm gonna tell
so
you,
now that I have it, I'm going to try it again.
yeah.
But, and even for burgers, for me, even though the grill is, an outdoor grill is, that's most people's standard. I actually really like to do mine on just a
Hmm,
cast iron pan. I just feel
that's a
like
good word.
I
Yeah,
always
and
get the
that's
best
I forgot
results
to
that
tell you
way.
that's what I use cast iron. Well, the reason why I do the chicken like this, and Anthony, you just brought up a good point, is because I have a hard time taking the the wings and frying them and they're done before they get burnt, or the thighs before they get burnt, because you don't want the flame to be too low, because then it's going to absorb all the oil. You got to get it to what, 325, 350 degrees. So I just discovered the breast do that. It's chicken. It tastes the same. Mark,
Well, I'm
you're
going to
looking
try
with a
that.
smile on your face. You must have.
No, I think what you're saying is correct. And I was thinking when you mentioned the wings, you know, the secrets we do for our wings is, and my preference is actually to bake them first. So then when you do fry them at the end, it's a flash fry. It's really adding some crispiness and a bit more fat because it's immersed in oil. And you're pulling those out, and then because it's nice and hot, it allows you to spin it in the sauce a little better. So I agree about not frying wings from start to finish in any type of oil. I also agreed with a couple of things you said. Cornstarch is necessary. It adds another crispy factor to the flour, and panko. But for me, we do those all in one. So I do a mixture with flour, cornstarch, and panko. And what happens is, as people will say, oh, the panko is too big, right? We grind it down. We grind the panko into smaller pieces.
Oh, you do? I've seen
to
that
make a
done
finer
before.
breadcrumb. Yeah, so you take, a big bag of panko, you grind it down, you lose some of that airiness, but then it's going to adhere a little bit better. And between the panko and the cornstarch, you'll have a nice base, and it'll stick to the chicken really, really well. The other, that's a secret I do. I also season that, and then I finish it with a little bit of parsley, because I have to have some herbaceous flavor that's going to finish on the palate a little bit also. So, we're not too far away. I actually love your idea of taking the Frank's Red Hot and the butter and painting it on there, because now you're making a spicier chicken. The Frank's Red Hot has a certain amount of acidity from the vinegar in it. So that's absolutely delicious. And spicy enough.
Yeah. And sometimes people, it depends on the person. Like Lado, he likes this buffalo wing sauce, but not too much of it, because the more you have, the more it's cloud in your mouth, and you don't get the taste of the chicken, because
you drown out the taste of the chicken.
Right. So I will brush it on. Now, if I do the wings, that's a little different. Then I'll dip it a little,
Well, I do marinate my chicken, and I got this marinade that I'm gonna say is really simple, but I'll tell you guys ingredients. And after the 13th ingredient, you'll be like, Mark, you're lying. It's not simple. But the base of it is red wine vinegar and Dijon, tons of herbs, so oregano, parsley, and thyme. And then it has a good amount of paprika, garlic powder. There's not much more. Some oil, and what we do is we blend that. And this marinade works across the board. So whether you're making a grilled chicken breast, whether you're making a fried chicken breast, whether you're making wings, you can use this marinade for anything. After the marinade,
acidity in it,
it's balanced out though, because you have the mustard, and the mustard is a salty factor, and you have the herbs in there. You have a little bit of oil. It also acts as a glue. So if I do want to bread it any way like that, then everything automatically sticks. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So that factor I do. I think like a buttermilk brine, I think that's boring. Like we don't want to.
I've done fried chicken using the buttermilk method. But did you experience when you use? I was taking the chicken, putting it in a good buttermilk, and then close it, put it in the refrigerator, and leave it for a couple of hours. But the buttermilk sort of breaks down.
Well, you always got to remember, buttermilk is nothing but an acidic dairy product. So I tend to make my own buttermilk, which is mostly milk and a little bit, a couple of teaspoons of white vinegar.
Okay, or lemon.
Yeah, or lemon, exactly, right? So, the reason I don't like buttermilk as much for option, besides the fact that everybody does it, is because when I season it enough, and then I actually finish the buttermilk with the vinegar, I'm essentially making a version of the marinade I'm already making, but I'm adding dairy to it. And I don't need to add dairy to it, because the milk, which does act as a cleansing and kind of a breakdown factor for the chicken, is not necessary. I'd rather punch the acid through with balancing it with the Dijon and stuff like that, add some other elements that are very foreign to the palate, and all of a sudden I'm making the chicken so much more flavorful.
And Anthony, go ahead. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that with the buttermilk, aside from aside from tenderizing the chicken, it really doesn't add a lot of flavor, which I think that's what Mark is getting
So
at.
you really have to flavor that up. The only other thing now, summer is around the corner, and I've noticed over the years, some people when they take chicken and they want to put it on the grill, you guys probably, well, Anthony, you probably grill on the roof, and Mark, you probably have a grill in the back of your house, a gigantic one. But I noticed that they are boiling the ribs and boiling the chicken first and then put it on the grill. What do you think about that?
Well, Anthony, what do you think? Because I got an answer for that.
I don't believe in it.
I don't think I've ever heard of anybody doing that. That's
oh
new
yes,
to me.
they do it.
So,
they do it. I've seen it many a times.
So a boiled rib
okay,
is
but
very.
here's the thing, though. Even though boiling, I haven't heard of. I have made. I've grilled ribs, but I've put them in the pressure cooker first. I do them in the pressure cooker, so it is essentially like boiling. So my
It
bad.
is the same. Yeah. So my mother used to boil ribs before cooking them, and we've adopted a recipe like that for my kitchen. I don't tell anybody because you can't say boiled ribs. Nobody's gonna get it. You say boiled ribs, somebody's like, oh, this guy ain't making no ribs. You know what I mean? And he's
You're
black
losing
too.
the flavor, and you're losing the flavor. You're boiling all the flavor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's actually untrue because as long as you make your poaching liquid, it's really poached. It's not boiled. As long as you make your poaching liquid super flavorful. And my mom, the only thing I know she used to do, she used to put a lot of onions in there. Anthony, again, those onions. She put a lot of onions in there, right? So what we do is we actually save our liquid that we boil the ribs in.
The pot liquor.
Pot liquor stays, right? Because it's going to hold a certain amount of fat. It's going to hurt all that flavor. And then we season our dry rub in that poaching liquid, okay? And then after they come out and the rib is pulled back from the bone and recessed, that's when we can paint it with barbecue sauce and finish it on the grill or in the oven. And then you'll actually crisp up the outsides. You got to remember, when you cook something in liquid, it essentially is taking in the liquid and it's softening. So it's making it super tender. It can get a little bit rubbery as long as you time it correctly. Then if you hit it on the grill again, it's going to caramelize it again. So my mom used to do this. And I used to like, what is she doing over there? And she would have a huge little stock pot. She'd be dropping ribs in there with lots of onions, bay leaf, some seasoned salt, and then she pull those out, and then you finish with barbecue sauce. I tell you right now, if you want tender ribs fall off the bone, best way to go.
That's the best way to do it.
Nobody's smoking ribs unless you have a smoker laying around.
Well, I tried it, and all I did was take the ribs, excuse me, and I seasoned them ahead of time, like I said, and I put them in aluminum foil, or I put the aluminum and I put parchment paper, wrap it up, put it in the oven, and when the time comes, it's ready. Lotto, he doesn't like barbecue sauce because in Mexico, it's not big like it's here, but it falls off the bone. Now, in the beginning, I would put barbecue sauce on it, and it was perfect. I could just take the fork and go like this, and it's coming right off the bone. But to go back where I was saying, I did witness people boiling the chicken thigh or the chicken legs and then putting it on the grill. And I'm saying, but where's all the flavor? And that pot liquor, they throw that away.
No, you got to take that and mix that into your sauce. You got to take that and make your barbecue sauce or whatever. You got to use that pot liquor in your sauce. Anthony, Renee, the way you talked about actually wrapping the ribs in parchment and then foil and cook in the oven, that's not too far from the same concept. I've done that way with lots of ribs to cook it one time where we wrap it in plastic wrap, then we wrap it in foil. We cook it in a very low oven.
And saran wrap?
And it's saran wrap, and you cook it, somewhere below 220, 230. You cook it for 3 hours and let it cook nice and slowly. The meat is going to pull back. It has a rub on it. And when you cut it again, you easily can put that on the grill, whatever have you, and crisp it up. I don't like the idea of chicken as much because a boiled chicken, to me, the color gets too opaque and the skin is going to fall off. So I don't like that as much. I'd rather bake it. But, within a time-sensitive part or the fact that somebody can actually make a good poaching liquid, if it works, it works. It sells. You
And
know,
from a time perspective, I think that, and I've done this a number of times, and I've always been really, really happy with the results. Is using my pressure cooker. I just
Okay.
buy a rack, season them up, throw them in with water, with
Yeah.
maybe half a cup of water, and you put them under pressure for I think 25 or 30 minutes,
Uh-huh.
and then if you're in the middle of the winter and you can't use your grill, you just throw them under the broiler with
Well, you know what,
whatever
Anthony?
sauce you're going to use.
If I had a yard, I do have a coat.
Yeah, I'm not doing
I
it.
agree.
I'll
I
wait
would
till the
put that
summer.
All the
coat
time.
on. The neighbors would be complaining. Who it is 20 degrees? Who is barbecuing? Me.
You can grill all the time. The grills don't take a little longer to get hot. It's fine. Okay.
That's
I say the
it.
same thing.
That is it.
I say the
Because they be
same thing.
saying, Renee, is that you? Was that you doing that grilling? It was 18 degrees outside. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, you have any left over? No.
No.
No, I
That's
don't have any left over. But as we was talking about, did we lose Mark? I think
We
we
No,
lost
I'm
his
here.
video.
Oh, okay.
We lost your video, man.
We lost your video, Mark. Um,
Okay. Give
so
me
we
a
were
second. I'm
talking
sorry about
about the barbecuing. Mark, are you going to have any? And how can I say? Because you're doing the burgers. What about if
that.
someone comes in and they're looking for something that's barbecued? Are you going to be able to provide them with that?
Yes, indeed. So we're gonna have a barbecue brisket that I'm using from a good friend of mine who this guy is a smoke addict. When I mean smoke addict, I don't mean, marijuana or any other stuff. I mean this guy has smokers that are like the size of cars, and he smokes some things for me
Wow.
now. He does turkeys for me. He does barbecue ribs. He does pulled pork. So he's going to be doing some brisket for me. And he's also going to be doing the bacon that we're using. We're doing a house grilled bacon. We're going to use a loin. So we end up making actually a Canadian bacon. And the reason I'm doing that is because I actually wanted a bacon that had a better coverage than strips. Everybody's like, oh, bacon on a burger, I like bacon on a burger, right? But like the point is that the coverage is really skinny. Two strips don't really cover the burger. So
Yeah.
what we're doing is using circles. We're making a house rub and smoking it, so basically curing it, and then I'm going to finish that smoked bacon on the grill, on the griddle. Hit it a couple times, and it's going to be caramelized and go on top of the burger. But we're also doing a pulled barbecue brisket.
Oh,
He uses
wow.
mostly a cherry or applewood, and we're going to do brisket. And we're going to top a burger with it, and it's nice spicy barbecue sauce. So we'll have the
Wow.
beef, have the cheese,
Holy
have
cow.
onions, then you'll have a barbecue brisket on top of that, right? And on top of the barbecue brisket, I will put a little more sauce, a little bit of aioli, barbecue sauce, and voila. And it'll be big, okay?
Yeah.
But I tell you right now, big is always better. It's no big deal at all. It's going to be fantastic.
But you know what?
We're gonna
Before I forget, for those who are watching right now, and this is going to repeat itself, what's the name of your restaurant again?
it's called
Burgerly,
burger.
Burgerly
Yes.
in New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Yes, indeed. New York,
What
Pennsylvania,
is
right
the
across from
address?
there.
What's the address?
137 South Main Street in New Hope. It's right on the main street, right when you cross the bridge over the Delaware River. I wish you guys could see this place because, like, right now, the place is probably absolutely packed. There's cars and motorcycles. You would think COVID
Wow.
It's beautiful weather.
Yeah,
Wow,
beautiful weather.
you're probably gonna call up and say, Renee, Anthony, get in your cars, come, we need help.
I'll be down there. No
I'm
problem.
gonna need it. It's gonna be it's gonna be what they would call a doozy. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, it
Mark,
sounds interesting
You
what
asked.
what you're saying about the
what,
brisket and all of that. That just adds to it, and brisket takes hours and hours to cook. Am I correct? To
Yeah,
smoke?
it has to break down. It
Yeah.
does. It does. There's two cuts. The first cut and the second cut. The first cut is as it has a lesser fat content. The second cut, which is more so getting closer to the joint of the animal, has a little more fat, has a lot more fat, but like the meat is thicker, and then the striations has the meat with inside to go along with the fat break down to a nice like shredded part, which we're going to use. I'm actually going to top a hot dog with that too. So instead of a chili hot dog, I have a barbecue brisket top hot dog, and then I'll do a poutine. So I'll do our fries, and then I'll add it. I'll top it with barbecue brisket.
Anthony is drooling about now.
I am. I'm starving.
Now, what about sausages? Now, what I did on one of my shows, I bought one of the hand grinders. You have one of those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't have a hand grinder. I do know what you're talking about. I didn't go too far yet with the sausage aspect, because you start going with sausage and brats and stuff like that, and you really get into this other world, another culture, just like we mentioned before. But you also have the idea of more of a force meat ordeal. Now, let me tell you right now, I'm like addicted to sausage. Like I can't. And like if it's like like the boardwalk sausage or something like that, I can't walk by it without like, what is going on here? You know how they just put it in the air and place it.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, kielbasa, bratwurst.
Yeah.
I actually think I'm saving my cholesterol a bit by not offering those things. But you never know, because if I can make it burgly, I'll make it happen.
But you know what? I made a chicken sausage. And I bought the hand, saw it on TV, and I'm one of those, do I have that? No, I have to get it, right? So I got the chicken breast. I cut off all the fat, because I found in that grinder, if it's fat on it, it gets stuck in it because it's not electric. And
it has to be cold too.
Yeah. Well, I didn't make it cold. I just did it. I got the grinder. So I want making sausages, So I season the chicken, let it set, and then I put it through, and then I get the casing from Andre Sala Maria on Central Avenue. Anthony, you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
And I put it in, because we did it in culinary school at Hudson Community College, and it came out pretty good. I was surprised. But like you're saying, you're getting into a whole nother world, because you have the burgers. And then if you bring on those sausages, you might say,
burgers,
those sausages. Yeah.
Logistically, burgers work better for fast casual than making homemade sausages. I make my own sausage. We make our own sausage here in this building. And it is an enormous amount of work. It's great. It is. My freezer is filled with 4 different varieties of sausage that I'm going to have now for months. But it's an enormous amount of work.
Mark, he showed me a picture of how many people in your building? 8? They all got together.
Well, those of us who were in this group, about 8 people.
Mark, I saw the picture.
Yeah.
I said, Anthony, did you make all those sausages? He said, no, they help. They help in the building. It looked like enough sausages to put in a small grocery store to sell. And they had them all lined up neatly on the table. And I was amazed. I was like, whoa.
That was 65 pounds of pork butt that we ground.
How much?
Wow.
How much?
65
pounds.
65 pounds?
Yeah. Yeah. At 13 pounds each, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. How long did it take to make the sausages?
All day. We started in the morning, and all of us, 2 of us have KitchenAids with grinders. So we're using the grinder attachment on the KitchenAid, and then we bought casings we bought them off of Amazon. But we've used them before and they're fine. And we made 4 different varieties. We made a spicy hot Italian sausage. We made a fennel and parsley sausage. We made a Peruvian sausage with ají amarillo peppers. And then we made a Thai sausage. So we used hot Vietnamese chili and holy basil.
Wow.
And put those, so it was 4 different varieties, 65 pounds of pork. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Whoa.
It's great. It's gratifying, but we're not going to be making sausage for a while.
Yeah, for a while. And how many bottles of wine did you have?
Wine, vodka, you know, the
everything.
whole 9 yards.
That
I mean, you
seems like
needed to drink to get through that day.
I know. That sounds amazing. And Mark, I haven't been to Anthony's where he lives, but they actually have on the roof a garden where they grow all their produce. They don't have to go and
Oh
buy,
wow.
which is
They're,
which is real
they're,
good.
they're self-sustainable there. This is amazing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've seen. I wanted to learn how to jar tomatoes, except do the whole thing, and that's how Anthony and I really became friends because I saw his, and then she showed me how to do it. So I went all out. I went
Mm.
all out. I was jarring and jarring and jarring and jarring. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I was going to tell you, Renee, that one time I had to make an incredible amount of turkey sausage for this pasta dish I used to do, which had like a caramelized fennel. It had it had an Asiago cream sauce, and it had turkey sausage. And usually, actually, it had sweet Italian sausage, pork. However, I had to change it to turkey. So I found out that as long as I cure some ground turkey meat and pack it really tightly, and put all my seasonings and herbs in there, and I basically got a ground turkey meat. It took about 2 days as it sat in the fridge, but it soaked all that good stuff in. Lots of fennel seed, really good salt. Of course, herbs, parsley, a little bit of oregano, and then I was able to make a ground sausage pretty easily. It just took a lot of just handwork of turning it over, mixing the
Mm-hmm.
sauces, spices in, plastic wrapped it, and let it sit in the fridge, and voila, it came out to a fantastic sausage. So if you ever want to make a really easy one, you can just do that. Put it in the back of the fridge, cover it nice and tight. Make sure it's gonna suck in all of those spices and everything, and then
Mm.
you'll have a really nice
Yeah,
sausage.
yeah. I let it sit
Very
for a
nice
while, then
idea.
I put it down in the freezer. I don't know how long. It's
Mm-hmm.
probably still down there. I don't know how long it will last, but I know that it is frozen. And I just want to experiment because, like I said earlier, we did it in culinary school. So, when you're in school, you come home and say you're going to make this, you're going to make that, and which I made a big mistake. I like curry chicken because I like spice. So I caught
Mm-hmm.
myself making some curry. I mean, not curry. I'm sorry. Not well, the curry. That's a whole nother story. Jerk chicken. So I'm going to make some jerk sauce. Well, what did I do wrong? I cut up the Scotch bonnet peppers, but left the
Oh man.
seeds in.
Yeah.
Well,
Could you eat that? And I kept the old jar that I had, and I made it. I'm all happy. I said, "Oh, I made it. I put it in there." Then I said, "Let me taste it." My mouth was like, it was so
yeah,
hot.
Scotch bonnets are a heck of a pepper, but they have so much flavor. Not just
Yeah.
spicy, they have so much flavor. And I don't know what color you prefer. Me myself, I like to find the yellow ones, the yellow or orange ones. But
My neighbor
they're
next door
Too.
turned me on to this curry. I went to a Jamaican store to buy it. Actually, it's up
hmm
on I forget what area it is, in Journal Square, up in that area, and the store's name ANCO or something like that, and it's a red
hmm
container. So tomorrow, because tonight I'm going to make some fish and chips. I bought some cod. So tomorrow I'm going to
hmm
make this curry chicken, and she's going to taste it and see if it came out right. Because she's from the islands, which which I love the thought of that. But I'll see what happens. If it works, see if it works.
well, Chef, also you were talking about jerk chicken, and I think last week for my meal prep menu, which I do for my other business, where I basically meal prep for all sorts of diets, all sorts of people in New Jersey, New York. I have drivers who go to Brooklyn and Harlem every Monday. We did a jerk chicken chili, which is a
Mm.
fantastic idea of jerk chicken because you get to
Wow.
stew it down and cook it with your peppers, some tomato. You reduce it in stock, and then it's actually a nice chili that I top with. That finished with white and black beans, a little bit of corn, so I'm throwing some color in there, and then lots of scallions, and then I make a pineapple salsa. So that's a good idea for you to try. Give that a try.
That
Wow.
sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Anthony, do you like jerk chicken? Are you big
I
on
do love
spices?
it. I love jerk chicken and I love jerk pork. In fact,
Oh
I think
man,
I
yes.
actually prefer jerk pork to
Hmm.
jerk
Hmm.
chicken because I feel like it's more flavorful. And I
Uh-huh.
made it a
Yeah,
few
it tastes
times. I
good.
love it.
Yeah, I made
Mm-hmm.
some salmon cakes and I put a little bit of the jerk seasoning in it just to give it that little lift
Some
to it.
pop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or even crab cakes. Add a little bit to it, and it'll give it that little lift, you know?
I got a really important question for you guys. How have you only had one glass of wine this whole time? Because mine's empty.
I'm
I've
doing
had two.
well. This
This is my,
was almost
and
full,
this second one is empty.
but I
Anthony's
refilled
got him
earlier.
pre-poured. Anthony's got him pre-poured. That's smart. See, I'm an amateur, you know?
Oh my goodness! But this has been this has been really really good today. Um, we're going to do this again not next week, the week after. But Anthony is going on a little vacation, right, Anthony?
Yes, I will be out of town, so I will not be available to Zoom.
Yeah, yeah. So, excuse me. So whoever comes on next week, it'll be the two of us. So, Mark, if you're free, you're willing to come and join, you know, and we can talk food, you know, and keep this going, and most importantly, you know, pass it on to your friends like I have been doing. Because if you notice, I'm always pushing something on social media. You know, I might as well. I might as
No.
well invest in stocks with Facebook.
Yeah.
and Instagram. You know, I got a lot of time on my hands. Sometimes. Yeah. So and then the show coming up with Gail Marquise. She's on In the Kitchen with Chef Renee Hewitt for Women's History Month. She was one of the first African American basketball players, and she is an Olympian. So I sat down and talked to her, and that's going to be wonderful. That's coming up on the show. And then next week, I will bring another guest to join us here. So, Anthony and Mark, your closing remarks for today.
Well, I just want to thank Mark. I think it's been really a fascinating conversation. I mean, it's a very low bar for me because anytime we talk about food, I'm fascinated.
Oh yeah.
But it was great. But it was actually great to really hear about Mark's concept for Burgerly, and just to talk shop. And it was really a pleasure. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, it's easy. You guys don't have to thank me. We were able to just kind of walk through what makes the classics classical. We were able to share some good recipes, and we're also able to just share what something that we've all loved, and that's the idea of making really great food, serving it and tasting it, and answering like these questions of why these things exist and why they want to keep making them. So thank you guys for having me. I'm elated, and I tell you, I hope I learned a lot. I hope I was able to speak a little bit.
Yeah, and
now we have to make Renee's chicken. We have to make. We need to come back and compare notes on Renee's.
So you remember the recipe? I'll say it one more time. You take the chicken breast, cut off all that little extra fat, slice it in. Do not bag it. Don't flatten it. It's not chicken. It's not chicken parm. Just leave it. Not a half an inch, a little smaller. Then you do your flour with a little cornstarch, egg, season them oil, 2 minutes on each side. When you turn it up and you see that panko breadcrumbs are brown, it's done. And then get your Frank sauce, so you have that buffalo sauce. And Mark, how did you say I was doing it?
There's that sound again.
Well, look, we all are smiling at that, and you know that's the most important thing. When I have business meetings, they always end with us laughing and telling jokes. And the same with Anthony and I. Mark, I can call Anthony or he can call me for one thing, and we end up talking for an hour. No lie. I'll be saying, okay, I gotta go. And we're laughing all the time, and that's a good thing. Okay?
That's a very good thing.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Mark. And if you're not doing anything not this Sunday, the following Sunday, come and join me. I will have another guest, and we can just go on and talk about food. And Anthony, thank you. Anthony is a regular, my co-host. and
You're
you
welcome. My
enjoy
pleasure.
your trip, your vacation.
Thank you.
Anthony will be
Thank you.
back
Thank you.
in a month. That will be, because we do this every other Sunday. Okay?
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.
Much love.
Bye-bye, everyone.
And lots of
Take
cooking.
care. And good luck. And good luck to you, Mark.
Yes, we will
Thanks
be
so
at
much.
your restaurant once again. It's Burgley.
Burgley.
That's right. In New Hope, Pennsylvania.
Say it again.
In New Hope, Pennsylvania.
The address?
137 South Main Street.
137 South Main Street. Okay.
Tell your friends.
Yes, tell your friends. Everybody go down there when they open, when they officially open, and of course I'll promote it on social media.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Take care.
All right,
Have a
bye
good
bye.
one. Bye bye.